Hey everybody, it's Jason again. So today we're going to do a review on my 2017 Shelby GT350. So let's get started. So here's my 2017 GT350. I got this back in June. I've put about 8,000 miles on it since then, and it is November currently, end of November. So my 2017 GT350 is a track package with the Recaro seats with the GT350 insignia on them. Everything in this is pretty much stock. We do have a resonator delete, kind of a janky one that the previous owner had put on there that I will be changing out. It does have a passenger side air oil separator along with some seated jacking rails. So pretty tasteful mods for the most part. We do have big old Brembo brakes, 4-piston Brembo brakes. The rotor is actually almost the same size physically as the front, which is crazy. On most vehicles that you see, the front rotor is always much bigger. You can tell that on the front rotors, the hat of the rotor is a lot smaller, so it makes the rotor look much bigger, but the actual physical outer diameter of both the front and the rear are pretty close to the same. The front does have 6-piston Brembo brakes. This is probably one of the most aggressive Mustangs as far as their looks. I mean, just look at this thing. It is so mean. That big old open grille, all those other grills that are open to it, and each one of these grills is fully functional. On each side on these track package GT350s, on the sides there and there, we have different coolers. We have an oil cooler and a transmission oil cooler. We walk around to the back, and it does have quad tip exhaust from the factory with active valving. They do have eliminators for it that will keep it on its loud setting at all times, but since I use this as a daily, I do want the functionality of being able to change it between open and closed. So we'll go ahead, take a little bit of a view inside the vehicle. You can see here that we have a tachometer that goes to 8,250 RPM redline. Crazy for a car with the Mustang name to rev out to 8,250 RPMs is ridiculous. Now this is kind of where you get a little bit more options here, a little bit crazier. You got your track apps coming in on a track pack GT350. We have a line lock that we can set up. We have launch control, your different exhaust modes. You can set your shift indicator. Your shift indicator actually comes up on the dash here. It will be kind of reflection off the windshield. Then you also have an accelerometer down here. This will show you what the max is that you've done. So then we can go back, acceleration timers, 0 to 30, 0 to 60. I haven't actually played with these too much. They all have, so there are no results on these. I'll probably start doing some of those. I mean, give you guys some more videos on that. Then we do have what my favorite here. I haven't gotten to use it yet, so I got 3 different track options that we can do, and I can actually set that track and be able to record my times and record best times and stuff like that. As you can see, average speed, split times, lap numbers, all that good stuff, and we are going to make that happen. From there, we do have a oil pressure and oil temperature gauge. Then we have the entertainment system here. This is a really good entertainment system for the most part, easy to navigate. Has Apple CarPlay, Android CarPlay, stuff like that. Makes it really good. Then one thing that, with every Shelby, you got a numbered chassis. This one is H4239. So H is every 2017 model year GT350 has an H. If it is an R spec, it would be HR. And then it has the sequence number that it was made in. Overall, again, this is a little bit dirty car right now, but sound system, really good in this car as well. For me, I'm not a big bump guy. So now we're gonna go ahead and look underneath the hood. All right, so underneath the hood, everything on this car is bone stock underneath the hood, other than this JLT 3.0 oil separator. does its job really well. I clean this out about probably once a week. Then we have just a stock air filter, stock air intake, stock strut tower brace. Again, everything on this is completely bone stock. One cool thing, as a Voodoo motor, you do have a hand built with pride on the Romeo niche line. In the gentleman who actually, or gentlemen or ladies that actually built the car. All just, you know, amazing piece of machinery, amazing piece of engineering. Cool thing as well, functional hood vent from the factory. Every bit of holes on this vehicle, I guess you can call it holes, grills, whatever, they're all completely functional. Even the one here from the wheel well out to here, that is functional for cooling. You have another one here. This goes all the way forward. I don't know if you can see my hand, but that one goes all the way forward there. And even the grill for the coolers has the exits right here. Everything is completely functional on this car. They did not waste any time for any, you know, fake hood scoops like the old 2 valves or 3 valves. This is real. To give you guys a little bit of exhaust tone. That it was a moderately warm start. It will start in the quiet mode every single time. It does not start in a loud exhaust mode. Great sounding car from the factory. Not too loud, not too quiet when it comes to idle. All right, so we got to a nice road. So we're going to go, you know, a little spirited driving, but also give you kind of an overview of the GT350 as a platform and this particular car. I've had this car since June of 2022. Flew up to Dallas to pick this up and drove it back down. You know, good 4-hour drive to get acquainted with the car, straight down 45, so just cruising the whole time. I got the car at 14,000 miles. Give or take a few, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was around 14,000 miles. The car came with the original Sport Cup 2s, and those just weren't very good for driving in the rain, a little dangerous. Because of that, I didn't really drive this on rainy days too much, so I ended up driving my truck. But on good days, or really just any days that I've had it, I would drive it to and from work, errands, going to my parents' house, whatever. And since then, I went through the Sport Cup 2s and the 8,000 miles that I've had it. I've recently gone to the Pilot Sport 4Ss. Since then, I've actually driven it a few times through rainy days, and the confidence that I have in this car during the rain is so much more than what I have during the Sport Cup 2s. The Sport Cup 2s, they just didn't have any tread. Any, you know, channels for water to escape through and get pushed out. They're almost slicks, especially towards the end of their life. I did a few autocrosses with them, and the autocross really just chewed up those tires pretty well, especially since I have a street car, or like a street alignment on the thing. Didn't have any track alignment on there, and because of that, the outer edges of those Sport Cup 2s really got chewed up like quickly. Even with the street car alignment, this is so planted that it feels so good. Going back around these back roads, it's the little corners and the twisties and stuff like that. It's a really fun car to have, and it does its job in every aspect. As a daily driver, I can't ask for anything more. The seats, super supportive. We got a good little turn here. Let's see what we can come up with. You know, just going through it and then really getting into it at the exit of the corner, all the way to 8,200 RPMs. It just feels so good. So we're at 4,000 RPMs, third gear. We're just gonna exit and fourth gear. Just a freaking blast, and so planted. Ooh, here's little S's. That sign had some bullet holes. That was fun. So we got a little turn here, put it in, exit out. Nice and good. Oh, a little pop there from the exhaust. Ooh, nice turn, 90 degree, come out. Another little pop on, shifting. Whew. Just gets your heart pumping. So great. Oh wow, yep, there we go. Cut that, hit that apex there. Got another tight turn coming here. Let's see what we can do with that. Nobody coming our way. Oh, yep, there we go, right out. Ooh, got a little squirrely there. Man, 8250 flat plane crank. Doesn't sound like anything else out there with a flat plane crank, just because of the way Ford engineered the exhaust manifolds along with the firing order makes it sound like a Mustang, but something completely off the wall as far as a Mustang. And the way the Ford did this just to get the sound right, it actually has a lot of secondary harmonics, and that will cause issues. Right before, you know, the 2017 model, so 15 and 16, they had a different style of oil filter that if you didn't torque it just right, or even if you did torque it right, there were some issues in that past where the oil filter would actually become unscrewed and, you know, dump all the oil and have really bad issues. And go. Pull. We're gonna go from 30 to whenever I feel like stopping. So here we go. Kind of forgot to shift there on into fourth gear, but either way, we made it happen. Overall, this car, it pulls, it screams, every little bit about it. It's such a fun car. It's such a well-engineered car with how planted it is, with the steering feel. Even though it's electric steering, it feels good. Especially when you put it into, like, say, sport mode or track mode. It feels so stiff, but it's still compliant, though. It's stiff, but it's compliant. It's firm. I guess would probably be the best way to describe it. And then when you're in comfort mode or anything like that, or I guess normal mode is how it's described, and it's still a good feeling car. I remember with the Sport Cup 2s, I had, you know, 295, 35, 19s up front, 305, 35, 19s in the rear. And any little divot or any little rut in the road, the car would follow it. And you know, if you weren't holding on tight enough, it would pull you out. And that was one thing that always got my wife when she would drive it, is it scared the crap out of her. Well, with the new Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's, I went a square setup, 305, 30, 19, so it's a little bit smaller sidewall, because that also kind of dropped the center of gravity and also dropped the car down a little bit. So I got to be a little more careful getting into driveways or entrances to parking lots or anything like that. But with that square setup and those PS4S's, there has been no trim lining on it any bit of road that I've been on. And the little back roads that we went on to towards the end of it, they got really bad. A lot of patches in the asphalt, a lot of divots and stuff like that, and it just took it like champ. So one thing that I definitely say with this is, if you do have a GT350 and you have any tram lining issues or anything like that, one thing that really makes a difference is going for a square setup, but also changing from the Sport Cup 2s to, say, the Pilot Sport 4Ss or just the standard Pilot Super Sports. I went with the 4Ss just for the all-around drivability. It's a lot newer, a lot more engineering, a lot better tire than the Super Sports. Overall, the ride when you're going down the road, or going to work or going to run errands, really good drivability. Doesn't jar your bones, doesn't shake you around like you think a race-inspired car would, just because of that MagneRide suspension. When you put it in your normal mode, when you start the vehicle, it's nice and compliant, but still sits you on the road well. And then when you go to your sport mode or track mode, you can feel the bumps a little bit more. Back when I was younger, I would have I had a few Mustangs that were lowered down, and you just had them on like the cheap springs because you're young, you can't afford too much, you don't have your big boy job yet, I guess. And those rides, those were harsh. You're bouncing all over the place just because you want it lowered. You're not thinking about the other implications or how it affects the actual ride quality and stuff like that. You just want it low because you want it to look good. So as any car guy, you always have plans to do stuff to your vehicles and stuff like that. And I do have plans for this one, what I want to do to it. But for right now, I kind of keep this one more stock. As far as any of the the mods that I've talked about already, they've all been either functional mods or really just like a sound mod. What I want to do, I would like to do like a flex fuel tune on this. My Fox body runs on E85, so in my old Coyote that I used to have, I had an E85 tune on that as well. Really love E85, and kind of down here I do have a few places to get E85 easily, so I'd really like to do that. Dream of dreams, maybe put like a Whipple on it or some sort of positive displacement supercharger. That's kind of one of the power adders that I haven't been able to do yet. I've done turbo and stuff like that. A positive displacement supercharger I've always been really intrigued by, and I really wanted to always do one, especially after seeing Terminator Cobras with big old Kenny Bells on it back when I was younger, growing up. But it's like I said, it's a pipe dream right now. But maybe some suspension mods here and there. Nothing that's really gonna make it to where it's too much of a harsh drive. I don't want any more NVH, noise, vibration, harshness than what it has. Just because, again, this is, I don't know if I'm older or not now, but I want something that's nice and simple and quiet to drive when I want it to be quiet. This car, no matter what you do, the car is going to take it, the car is going to love it, the car is going to handle it. And I couldn't be happy with a different car as far as a daily driver. Just for me, I love the performance of it. I love that if I want to, I could step into this thing and I could really make it go. But also, going down the freeway, 6th gear, cruise at 70, 75 miles an hour. You don't hear anything. There's no crazy road noise. It just cruises. And overall, that's what I look for in a car. Something that it kind of does all aspects of the job. It's a jack of all trades, but it's not just a jack of all trades. It's almost a master of all trades. You'll never find, at least the cars that are made nowadays, you'll never find a car at this price point that is this good at its jobs. Well guys, we're back home. You can see the Fox body in the background and my little Ranger. Had that thing since high school, actually. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. I will see you again next time. Thank y'all very much.